boys and girls. This is Capital Sports 2.0.1. So we're going to add on this little bit extra to talk about. We're all locked down pretty much everywhere. Some of us more than others. However, we want to give you something like that. Well, a little bit of a hint or a little bit of a gift, something from all of us. And what I want to bring up sports movies and sports documentary films that can pass the time. So we're going to give you around, I'd say, between 8 and 10 or even more. So pens and paper at the ready, and we're going to start off. We're going to start off in reverse order. Well, actually, it's kind of first order with Alex, because Alex comes before Andrew, and then go to Iseult Cody. So everyone's still waiting in line. So, Alex, what have you got to offer for a sports movie and a sports documentary that everyone should watch?
A sports movie that I recently saw that I'd like to recommend for everybody is called Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James. So it's about a teacher who, in a school, the music program is shutting down because of downsizing. So he tries to make that money by fighting in the early UFC. And it's a heck of a film. I can guarantee you that.
Is it funny?
Oh yeah. It's not much of a documentary, but
is it realistic or very?
It's up there.
Is it realistic, Alex?
I would say it's quite realistic for a Kevin James comedy. Yeah, it's pretty.
Okay. And
it's kind of like one of these early, like, and in those like American comedies from like 2011, like it's that kind of thing. So it's absolutely ridiculous, but at the same time, it's a good watch.
Okay. So that's kind of light-hearted, something we need. What would you recommend for a documentary on sports?
For a documentary, for all basketball fans out there, Iverson. It's the best documentary I've seen on a player ever. It's about Allen Iverson. It's about how good he was because when he played, he was like one of the shortest people in the league, and he was just carrying his team he just had historic runs with the Philadelphia 76ers. So it's a great movie about one of the lesser known sort of stars in the NBA.
Is that on Netflix as well?
Yeah.
I hope so. I didn't know Netflix was part of the deal here.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Andrew, sports movie and a sports documentary.
There actually are a lot of good sports films that I'm catching up on in this period, like most people. But I would pick 42 about Jackie Robinson. Baseball's a sport I know absolutely nothing about, and it's the story of how the first black player was brought into Major League Baseball, and it's a very realistic film about the social impact it had at the time. And I know there are a few films that deal with the issue of race in the earlier parts of the 20th century, but I just thought it was very moving because you had Harrison Ford as a franchise owner, and he's got the profile in the film as the typically set in his ways white man who is already completely converted in his mind. He's not just thinking of the financial gain. It's not just a novelty. He actually showed he cared. Now, whether that's realistic to true life or not, I don't know. But just as a story in itself, it had real impact, and I thought it was a very uplifting story. So 42 would be my recommendation.
Okay. There was an older movie called The Jackie Robinson Story as well, which again I watched many years ago. It's very good as well. So it's good even in black and white, and I think that's on Netflix as well, I believe.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Documentary.
Documentary. Honestly, one of my absolute favourites that I've seen is a series. Again, it's on Netflix as well, called Losers, and it's absolutely fascinating collection of 8 different stories from completely different sports, where sportsmen and sportswomen have either succeeded then failed, or they've been prevented from achieving their full potential. You've got stories from boxing, from 1980s English football, from ice skating, from curling. It's absolutely fascinating. And they go into real detail. And there's a mixture of dramatization and tons of original interviews. So it's a genuinely fascinating collection of stories.
Okay. I've seen the one for Torquay United. I think
Yes, one episode was what I noticed. That was the advert I saw about I think it was 1987 when a dog bits the captain's leg, and it helped pause play, and it led little events helped them escape relegation.
Exactly.
But stunning stories.
The Michael Bent one I know was very, very good, the boxer, because like his backstory and the whole lot was very, very, again, emotional as well. So, okay. Iseult, a sports movie for you.
I am okay. So this ties in with a book I'm currently reading. You're not going to see how initially. The Journeyman with Paddy Considine. It's obviously a boxing story. It's fictional, and it's about basically post-boxing career, having sustained a bad head injury, how his life is affected. And the reason it ties in with the Michael Bisping book I'm reading at the moment is that Michael Bisping describes watching the film on a flight, seeing what this fictional character was going through post a bad head injury, and going, that's my decision made, I'm retiring. And it's a very interesting look. I suppose we don't look at post-career boxers as much. Everyone glorifies them. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's very true to life. He had a lot of influence from Andy Lee, and his character is a middleweight boxer. So it's really enjoyable. You get into the storyline, and it's good. In terms of, I think it's on Amazon, but it's well worth finding. Otherwise, Iverson, love it. Watch it consistently.
That's, Alex is smiling and nodding. Okay, documentary film. Okay, Iverson, of course. Well, you mentioned this. What would you recommend as a documentary?
If you're looking for a series and you have lots of time to binge on Netflix, do season 1 and 2 of either Drive to Survive or Sunderland Till I Die.
Oh God!
And I might actually die while watching it, because I'm watching the fans going, these people can't support sports. Like, why? But the other thing I would recommend to any sports fan to do, I'm sure everyone has seen both of them, Icarus and Stop at Nothing, the Lance Armstrong story and the doping story. Watch the 2 back to back. It is worth doing. So watch Lance first and then watch Icarus, and then just go, okay. It's just brilliant. I've done it a few times. That's how I spend my Saturday nights. Don't watch Sunderland Till I Die. Like, I think I might need to support Sunderland.
Yeah.
They need us.
I watched the Sunderland Till I Die, both of them. I just finished it. I basically, when I was traveling for work, I started watching it again. Or sorry, the second part. It's genuinely heartbreaking to see how, and I don't think they're not badly run, but you could just kind of see there's so much pressure, there's so much I don't know, there is just pressure and just kind of like, well, we're a great club, we should be in the top division, but they don't have the money, they don't have the resources, and it's very, very difficult to put together. And this guy came in to try and help, Stuart Donald, I think his name is, he came in to help, but it was just, it's heartbreaking, and the fans, and there's some people in that you like, some people you don't like, but it's very, very difficult. It's completely dysfunctional as a club. For me, sports movie, one that I've watched, I mean, there's lots of great sports movies, like, say, From Rudy, Escape to Victory, that are uplifting, make you feel good. One that I like, because each time I've watched it now a few times, and I still kind of wait till the end, see, is it going to come off? And it's a pure propaganda piece, pure, and, if Kevin James is a propaganda for UFC, this one is propaganda for the NFL. Draft Day with Kevin Costner. It is. I know, it's great, because you're kind of watching, kind of going, how is he the very, very start of it is, like, of course, it's the day of the NFL draft, which is actually quite appropriate now, because now they're still talking. That's the main thing in US sports, you use to draft. After going to get, the Louisiana quarterback and so on and so forth. But anyway, they were talking about this. What's going to happen? So he's with the Cleveland Browns. Of course, Cleveland is our catchword.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole thing is how he's going to draft good players, and it's a great journey. It's kind of, there's a romance beside it. There's like a family tragedy. There's a city tragedy. So then when you talk about like Sunderland Till I Die, that's what it is. So Draft Day, without a doubt, it's a great one. Costner does sports well. It's a propaganda piece for NFL, but still documentary. I mean, I'm a big documentary fan. The 30 for 30 series on ESPN is just unbelievably good. Sometimes, like say the one press pause about Marion Jones was so badly done, as in they didn't ask any questions. They didn't ask questions like about doping. But anyway, the one that I recommend, because it's when I watched it, I actually began to believe cycling could be clean, and it's called Clean Spirit. Yeah, I see Iseult has covered her face. Clean Spirit. It's basically it's all about Marcel Kittel and his team, and it's basically following a team through the year and what happens. And Marcel Kittel is a great sprinter, of course, and it's all, and they've got John Degenkolb. It's just it was with the team somewhere Alpecin. Sorry. So basically, it's what goes on behind the scenes, how they're preparing for the season, how they're doing this clean, no drugs, no nothing like this, and and this is what they're kind to say, and it's kind of also then there's one with with Mark Cavendish, the famous British sprinter, and how he cheated to knock down the player, but another cyclist. But Clean Spirit, has anyone seen that? No, it's on Netflix as well. You've seen it?
No, Team Movie Star have their documentary out on Netflix.
Yes.
You just reminded me of that.
I saw the first episode. And again, when you look at it, kind of like, they don't ask about doping, but there's all these doping guys working with them and riding for them. I was like, oh, I don't know. I want to ask Alex, Draft Day, that's one of your favorites or not?
No, I haven't actually seen it. I've seen some of the posters, and it just looked preposterous. So, yeah. That's why I reacted when you said the name.
It's not Space Jam. It is a bit.
Hey, now
it didn't look Space Jammy at all.
Space Jam.
It just kind of looked like
film.
Exactly.
Hold on, you agree with Alex? Space Jam.
Oh, when it comes to Space Jam, I'm sorry. What was wrong with it? They had Michael Jordan, a whole load of aliens, and half the characters from like your childhood cartoons. Perfect.
Alex?
Well, actually, when I initially talked about this movie, I didn't really have good things to say because when I watched it, I didn't watch it as a child. I saw it at a pretty, I don't know, at like an older age, so to speak. So when I saw it, I was like, yeah, what is there to enjoy? You got people like Muggsy Bogues and Charles Barkley playing villains.
I don't want to shatter any illusions, but I wasn't a child when I saw it, and I saw it when it came out.
Okay, but
I'm
the problem that I had was that they had actual players playing like these antagonists and got easily destroyed by Michael Jordan by himself. And there was guys like Charles Barkley who were contenders at the time. So I don't know why they would sign up to do anything like that, because Charles Barkley is actually one of his biggest rivals.
You took a very serious look at Space Jam.
I did.
All right. Now, I know for the next show, Alex, you're going to come back with like Space Jam summary and a critique.
Look, but Space Jam 2, though, with LeBron James, that's what I'm actually looking forward to. You're going to have Kevin Durant, you're going to have Derrick Rose, you're going to have all these new guys, and I cannot wait. And we're even going to have some WNBA players.
Oh, God.
More known for their runs with Team Yekaterinburg.
Okay, that's okay. Wrapping up of the ones, like if you'd say that there's one like movie to stay away from in sports, what would it be, Alex?
One movie to stay away from in sports. Can you ask somebody else that while I think?
Okay, I'll go straight to Andrew Flint because he hasn't been on for a while. So Andrew, one movie, a sports movie people should not watch.
Please forgive me for my sins, but I'm going to say Goal, the trilogy. I mean, it was fun while it was a novelty, but then watching it back, I've never known such. I mean, it's difficult to capture football well on film, but my God, they take it to a whole new level. It's just an utterly appallingly done film.
Okay, I liked the first one, but then by the second, third one, I was thinking, no, that's just like, I don't know
The
why I
third
watched
one
that.
was the weirdest one ever. When his teammates had that storyline where they were paid to be in some slightly dodgy Eastern European film or something, and he ended up on the set of what looked like some sort of a porno. I was like, hold on a minute, what the hell has this got to do with Santiago Munoz? I mean, it just got so weird.
It's scary you remember his name.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to dig myself out of this hole. I did like it for one point, and then when I actually started watching and thinking, what have I actually watched? And then I realised, yeah, this is not good.
I'm all against illegal immigration because that's what he did. Like, you know, he should have been. How did he get anyway? How did he get a visa to England and the one like by the quota? It doesn't work like that. But anyway, all right. Iseult, what sports movie should we avoid?
Do we consider Bend Like Beckham a sports movie? Because
Yeah.
all I can think of now is all the really dodgy films I've watched that I keep seeing coming up. $1 Million Baby, I really hate. Won an Oscar, and it's like a sports film, but I hate it. Bend Like Beckham, The Blind Side.
You don't
I
like
just
it?
didn't like it. I didn't like it. I just didn't like Sandra Bullock in it because all I could see was her in Miss Congeniality, and that ruined it for me. But like, I was fixated on that, and everyone's going, "Oh, it's great! It's such a good like representation of everything," and I'm going, "No, she's about to play with a group of like glasses and make noise out of them." So no.
All right. So okay, Alex, back to you.
So I'd like to talk about a sort of a lesser known boxing film called Rocky. And
Oh no!
it is one of the most inaccurate portrayals of the boxing scenario, of like the boxing picture I've ever seen in a movie. So first of all, what interest does Apollo Creed really have in fighting Rocky when he's a champion?
And
None. He's a champ. He's a champ, and Rocky is just, you know, nobody knows who he is. And after that, when he does lose, first of all, that is not just taking up punches so your opponent gets worn out is not a legitimate strategy, especially when you're taking him to the face.
It worked for me.
So, in your boxing expertise or the movie?
In my career,
Yeah,
I was okay when people like look at my nose, look at my. I was happy to be punched hard enough, often enough, and then all of a sudden people's hands got tired and they give up.
All right. I take that back then. I take that back. Looks like it's actually it turns out it's a realistic strategy for boxers to win. So big ups to whoever made that. Say Sylvester Stallone.
It worked for Homer Simpson.
It did work for, and it worked for Kevin James. And here comes the boom. Everybody wins.
All right, Iseult, you're agreeing with him on Rocky.
I would confine some of the Rocky films to that. However, Creed 2, if we're considering that part of the Rocky franchise, fantastic. Should have won an Oscar.
Alex? Well, the thing about Creed 2 is that it exactly followed the paradigm of Rocky 3. Because we had this one huge guy that just training while the protagonist is sort of just screwing around, messing around, getting married to his wife. And then the big guy comes in. Then the big guy comes in who's been training this whole time and beats him up. And then guess what? The protagonist goes back, gets back the respect of all his friends and his coach, and then trains, and then beats the other guy.
But like he trained in the desert, and then he had like the American flag. Of course, he was going to train.
Rocky trained in Siberia, and he had the. Well, I'm actually comparing him to Mr. T here because Mr. T sort of had the same thing as Ivan Drago's son going on, and then when he lost, he was like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna. I don't know what sort of what changes he made to his lifestyle after he lost. He was just sort of more happy to live life, I guess. That was kind of his whole thing. But there was this whole like picture that they painted that the Rockies have this generational hatred with the Dragos and like all that. I don't know. I didn't really like that too much.
I would have thought it was with the amount of drugs being pumped into the system, it would have been hard for Ivan Drago to have a child. I mean, that too. That's what was my take on it. I didn't see Creed 1 or 2, but I have to say Rocky 4. Pardon?
doubt.
Creed 1 is good. Creed 1 I loved.
Okay. Well, Rocky 4 for me is awesome. It just is like it's no. I'm sorry, Alex. I know, but I'm sorry. Like for me, it's like it was everything in the '80s for a kid to kind of go, yeah, because we had Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We had Red Scorpion with, I don't know who it was, with a tank and so, or no, with Dolph Lundgren. We had something else about it. It was messed up here. And of course, you had Rambo as well. So basically, how do you say? It was good fun. It was very, very good fun. But Rocky 4 for me was like, you know, this, I will break you, or whatever it was. He said, I must break you. And then like, if he dies, he dies. Like all these like catchphrases, you know, I don't know.
It fed into every type of film of that era.
Of course.
All you need to do is give them guns and you had another film in the making. Like, it was the exact same kind of idea.
I got a feeling you guys are going to shout at me right now. I have no idea what you're talking about when you say Creed 1 and Creed 2. What is that?
Movies.
It's okay. You're on lockdown. There is loads of time. You just need to start downloading them now.
Okay, I will before the next one, because I've got a feeling I'm not going to get a happy you sort if I don't. I will. I
There's
promise.
going to be a quiz.
Okay. So
I will. I promise.
listen, we're going to leave it there right now. So there's lots of movies to watch and not to watch, lots of documentaries to watch. And again, this is a perfect time. Even on YouTube, there's a lot of good documentaries there from American football, from basketball. A lot of materials there, resources that you can actually spend some good time. And again, if you can see that Clean Spirit one as a cycling documentary, it's on Netflix. It's really, really worth a watch. But you have to kind of suspend your belief. It's kind of like living with Team Sky and think, oh, it's all clean. It's not. But anyway, right. I'll start off in reverse order this time. So, Iseult, thank you very much for this extra time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely week to you all.
Perfect. Andrew Flint, thank you very much. We'll talk to you very soon.
Great to chat to you guys. I'm educated now.
Alex B, thank you very, very much yet again.
Thank all of you for having me. It's been great talking to you.
Okay. All right, folks. So we're going to go away. You have our recommendations of what to watch, what to enjoy, and we'll talk to you again very soon on some more Capital Sports. Okay. Now let me see. That is done.